Making game sequels can put a lot of pressure on developers, especially if their first entry was a massive success. Unlike a lot of other media though, games generally get better as a series goes on, as developers come up with new ideas, refine the gameplay, add new mechanics, and develop the narrative. Well, that is until a series hits the point where everyone's fed up of it and there's nothing special about any of the new entries. But today, we look at 5 examples of games that managed to outdo their predecessors. So let's start then with Uncharted, a series known for third-person combat, quick-witted characters, and climbing up objects that are conveniently glowing bright yellow. It's long been considered that 2 is the best in the series, and to be honest, that might be correct. I really enjoyed 2, and it is certainly better than the original, and potentially 3 as well. But everyone's been praising 2 for years, and I want to make the case for Uncharted 4. Firstly, the visuals are simply jaw-dropping. The environments look so real and the characters look like actual human beings now. The writing was great too, with just as much humour as you'd come to expect, although there were some more serious moments sprinkled in amongst the goofiness. The new characters were pretty good too, with Nadine and Rafe making for fairly interesting villains, and Nathan's brother Sam being an absolutely genius inclusion. The gameplay is exactly what you'd want from the series. Climbing, shooting, puzzle solving, treasure hunting, they're all still here and as fun as always. In typical Uncharted fashion, the set pieces have been ramped up a level, although this time they sometimes don't even feel like set pieces due to their fluid nature, with the epic chase scene where you jump from jeep to jeep probably being the best example. Overall, sure, it might go on for a bit too long, and yes, it's still very linear as the series always has been, but it's tons of fun, and that's what you want out of an Uncharted game. Bit of a divisive one now, so let's just get it out of the way. Super Smash Bros. Melee. Great game, fantastic competitive, but Ultimate is pretty much better in every single way. Ultimate really is a complete package with a gargantuan roster featuring all the most iconic characters in existence and also a few that should be cast out and never seen again. The number of stages is massive too, with a good amount of highs as well as some sizable lows. As for the game modes, you're spoilt for choice. World of Light is a massive single-player adventure mode with hundreds of battles to complete. Classic mode has a unique set of challenges for every single character on the roster, all themed around the game that they originally came from. There's the mob smash modes, a level editor to make custom stages, the home run contest, and a multitude of settings to tweak for regular battles so you can play however you like. The only fairly limited factor is the online. You can queue for ranked games with whatever rule set you like, although it's 50-50 whether you'll be playing with your rule set or your opponent's. You can queue for some of the more standard community rule sets, and there are plenty of players that are doing the same, meaning you'll hardly ever be matched up with clowns that are farming to Elite Smash with one-stop matches or any of that rubbish. Online did have a bit of a shaky launch in terms of connection issues and such, but over the years I've had fewer and fewer problems with it. That's just the quick play though. The arena is the place to be if you've got a group of friends online that you want to join. This is great as you can just set whatever rule sets you want and invite only who you want with, at least from my experience, minimal connection issues. Quality of life has also been improved with a great deal of features that smooth out the experience. Things such as the option to fully remove stage hazards, have Battlefield and Final Destination versions of every stage, being able to use all kinds of controllers with up to 8 players on one Switch, and fully remappable controls for every single game mode. Yes, that's right, I'm looking at you Smash Melee for not letting us bind the C-stick in single player. It might not have the fastest Smash gameplay or have the best campaign mode, it might not even be the most balanced, but this is by far the best feeling and most complete Smash experience we've ever had, and at least for me, it's the best in the series. The first Red Dead Redemption was a masterpiece. The world was huge, with loads of side quests to do, characters to meet and promptly dispatch of, and a great soundtrack to boot. The second game, however, elevated all of this to a whole new level. The world was even more massive, there were even more quests to do, and not to mention the fact that the main story was at least like 3 times longer than the first game. But the best thing about the second game was the narrative. Never have I been more engrossed by a story, never have I loved or loathed characters so much. This story is the best I've seen. No doubt this is down to both the excellent writing and voice work Rockstar managed to achieve alongside some of the best motion capture in the industry. The story is complemented by an expansive open world, packed with lively towns, sprawling fields, and tons of random encounters with bandits or strangers in need of help. These encounters help break up the main story missions, which could be quite lengthy and intense ordeals. Some of the best fun you can have in Red Dead though is just exploring the world, messing around in the towns and getting into bar fights, customizing your weapons at the gunsmith, bounty hunting for the local sheriffs, and of course a little bit of the old greet antagonize. Now the one big criticism I've heard about the game is the online. Apparently it's not that great and doesn't really have that much content to offer you. I can't speak on it myself because I've never actually tried it, so I guess if that's a deal breaker to you, then just skip out on this one. Others would say that the problem with Red Dead 2 over the original is that the story's just a little bit too long. I guess that's fair enough, everyone has different tastes, and for some this one just might be too much. For me though, the narrative was so good that it didn't feel like a chore at all. I would strongly recommend this to anyone who's even remotely interested, and once you're done, just go ahead and play the first one as well. You'll appreciate both games for what they have to offer, and you definitely won't be disappointed. Mario Kart is one of those franchises that pretty much everyone has played, and for that reason, there's a lot of opinions floating about which one is the best. Many people have argued that Mario Kart Wii has the best gameplay in the series, and that's fair enough, but I think that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the definitive Mario Kart experience and surpasses all the other ones. The gameplay is super smooth, every vehicle feels excellent to control, especially in terms of the drifting. I just think they nailed it this time around. The item balance is also so much better than previous games, which was my main gripe with Wii. Getting rid of that stupid lightning cloud and the power block was the right decision, and the addition of the super horn makes it so that the race never gets slowed down too much by items, while still keeping that unpredictability present. Then of course there's the abundance of content, including the insane amount of tracks in the game, with most of them being fantastic. But not only that, they are doubling the track roster with the expansions releasing periodically, which will result in a final total of 96 tracks. The battle mode, whilst not as numerous in tracks as previous entries, instead offers a plethora of modes to enjoy, from the classic Balloon Battle to Shine Thief and the new Renegade Roundup. In terms of characters and karts, the build your own style menu is back from Mario Kart 7 and allows for a good level of customization. However, the character selection does leave out some fan favourites in exchange for crossover characters such as Link. The thing that I appreciate most about 8 Deluxe though is the great online, well at least by Nintendo standards. Joining an online lobby of friends or randoms is quick and easy, and I almost never have any connection problems or lag during races at all. Just like Smash Ultimate, I think this is the cleanest Mario Kart gameplay we've ever had, and as such I would consider it the best one of the lot. Sorry Mario Kart Wii fans, but you're wrong. It's Metal Gear time once again, and let's be honest, if you're a fan of the series, you probably saw this one coming. After Metal Gear Solid 2 was slightly less well received for reasons, it was unclear whether Metal Gear Solid 3 would live up to the original. Luckily, it ended up being an incredible reimagining of the Metal Gear Solid formula, largely comprising of sprawling jungle as opposed to the corridors and bunkers of Metal Gear Solids 1 and 2. This focus on the outdoor gives 3 a feeling of survival, requiring you to utilise camouflage to stay hidden, having to hunt for food to restore health, and using the environment to overcome enemies. This not only allowed for an interesting new story to unfold, but also changed the gameplay significantly. There's no Soliton radar here because it hasn't been invented yet. Instead, you must use a collection of primitive gadgets such as motion detectors and directional microphones to scope out enemies. This really forces you to take in your surroundings, plan out your moves, and be a lot more involved in the whole process of sneaking around. That's not to say it's all slow-paced crawling through the jungle though, as the legendary standard for Metal Gear Solid bosses is well and truly upheld in this game too. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I will say the sniper battle with the end is especially brilliant. For many, the combination of gameplay, story, characters, and of course boss fights makes this entry in the series their favourite, and I think I'd have to agree. And that's all for this video. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end, and be sure to let me know in the comments how wrong you think I am about Mario Kart Wii.